doing, guys? I'm keeping myself out of sight this morning. I just turned my phone off. A couple of customers came to the door first thing this morning. I had 3 in all. Told me the store wasn't opened. Apparently, when I don't go into work, nobody else feels the need to. Well, I'm taking this day off, so I stayed out of sight. I do not care for my coworkers. Things have changed since last year. I think I got one coworker I like to talk to, and that's only because he's like me. He's got a crazy sense of humor. The others are a bunch of buffoons. They will sit there and try to converse with me, and really most of what they have to say is just, well, pointless. So I finally stop it. It's like, what are you doing? We'd just like to get to know you. Okay, you guys know all you need to know. You just can't plan to have a conversation, and for the most part, I end up walking away from it. This is one thing that I can't stand. Most of your best conversations happen sheerly by accident. When you plan them, it doesn't work. When I was at JW, I had a Bible instructor. This guy was a complete tool. He invited me over to his house. I said, what's the occasion? Oh, having a couple of the guys over. I'm sending the wife away. No women going to be there. We're just going to sit around and have good old conversation. Okay, I figured I better go. I got there. There were about 4 or 5 guys sitting in the living room, all sitting there staring at each other. I sat down, looking around. Nobody is saying anything. Every so often somebody would say something. Everybody would jump in. Yeah. Then the conversation would stop. As this was dragging on and on and on, I'm thinking, okay, it must be getting late. I can probably sneak out. Great, I've only been here 10 minutes. I finally did sneak out. This was something I noticed pretty much immediately at the Kingdom Hall. Conversations sucked. Very rarely did you have a good conversation. I miss good conversations. Like I said, most of them happen sheerly by accident. You remember, you have a coworker or a friend, or you run into somebody randomly. Sometimes it's a one-shot deal. It never happens again. Every so often you drive somebody home from work, and somebody would say something that would catch your interest, and you'd both be gabbing away for hours and hours and hours. I left the factory I worked at for many years. This is going back over 30 years ago. And one of the guys needed a lift. Now, up until this point, he and I never spoke. But we started conversing, and we both realized we had a lot in common, and we had a lot of common interests. A couple of the girls were driving behind us, and said that while we were gabbing away, the car was weaving in and out like this, because we were gabbing away like a couple of little bitches. It's funny, though, when you have a coworker, you're driving home, and you're embroiled in that conversation, you get to the person's driveway, and they don't get out. You sit there and converse for hours and hours and hours, and you're not even aware of how much time is going by. I miss that because it doesn't happen that often. I noticed right away when I went to the Kingdom Hall, there was 1 of 2 conversations. Rarely did you have any good ones. You either had one, the blowhards, that would consistently talk to them about themselves. And when you're sitting there listening to somebody talk about themselves, it doesn't give you much to say, and you're just looking to get the hell out of there. Or you get the questions, progressive questions. Now, the one thing, we all know JWs love to ask questions. And I know a few people on the outside that can't converse without asking questions either. And the one problem with that, the more questions you answer, the more they're going to ask. Now, in the Kingdom Hall, when you start answering questions, the more questions they give you, they get more and more personal. So I pretty much like to nip it in the bud right before it even gets there, because they have no problem asking any questions. And like I said, the more you answer, the more they will ask. This is called progressive questioning. This is how JWs get to know the ins and outs and what makes you tick. Now, I've flat out asked people that, and they've given that same answer. We just like to get to know you. And my thing is, and I've said this before, sorry guys, need the coffee. that if you're going to be around somebody on a regular basis, there's no need to ask questions, because there are certain things you're going to find out just through average everyday being together. The things that they don't find out, they don't need to know. But JWs don't have any limits with that. They will ask anything, and they think they're entitled to give answers. I actually had one woman at the hall go to the elders and demand to know everything about me. And I was told this, and I flat out told them, ain't happening, because most of what she wants to know does not pertain to her. But the thing is, this isn't limited to your Bible instructor. This isn't limited to the elders. This is pretty much everybody in the conversation. Have you ever been out in service and you get somebody in the back, when everybody gets out of the car to go to the door, they start asking questions? I did not like this. I never did. I never have. Then, of course, you've got the ever-famous judicial hearings. That's all they do, is ask progressive questions. Now, the thing is, the elders have no authority. We all know that now. At the time, many people thought that they did, and you felt entitled to answer any questions that they asked. And frankly, no matter what the situation is, if you don't feel like answering, don't. They don't have any authority. They do not own you. And really, what are they going to do if you told them flat out it's none of your business? I've had a couple of judicial hearings over the years. Basically, on 2 occasions, I got caught smoking. Now, really, flat out, I never saw the need to deny it. I said, okay, yeah, I was bag smoking. Are you still smoking? Yes. Well, somehow, at one of the hearings, the questions got a little bit heavier. And I was asked if I was having sex with somebody. Okay, now I was brought into this hearing for smoking. What the hell did having sex with somebody have to do with the smoking? So I flat out answered. I says, what, did you want to know if I smoked after sex? Well, they kind of chuckled at it, but it was true. I says, guys, that doesn't pertain to this particular topic. That is none of your business. But they felt entitled. And the thing is, the unfortunate thing is, most Jehovah's Witnesses feel obligated to answer. And you don't. You're not obligated to answer. They don't need to know anything about you. But this is the mindset that they're all trained this way. And this is why I've never liked this progressive questioning, because it's more of a passive-aggressive interrogation, particularly in the judicial hearings. Frankly, I don't miss it. My last few weeks in, when they realized that I was on my way out, I got a lot of this. My former Bible instructor put it upon himself to pester me. He started asking a bunch of questions that were none of his business. I'm very stubborn. If I don't feel the need to tell you something, it's because you don't need to know. And this angered them. This really pisses them off. But I never looked at them as any type of authority. And you shouldn't either. If you're still in, keep that in mind. Anything that is your business that you don't feel the need to tell, don't. Even if you're in a judicial hearing, be careful of what you answer, because the questions will not stop. The questions keep coming and coming and coming. And the more you ask, remember that, the more personal they will get. And frankly, most of the questions they do ask are none of their effing business. See, they're very, very nosy people. They're not professionals. They're not lawyers. They're not judges. They're a bunch of buffoons that don't know any better. So just keep that in mind if you're still in. Anyways, guys, like I said, I'm keeping my phone off today. I am taking this day off. You all have a good day. And I will talk to you soon.